Scott.
Great, thanks so much, Jasper, and welcome everybody. And I'm not sure that Scotty does actually need an introduction, but he's an amazing character, guy full of energy, living a life on an island somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how he managed to get that one right, but he's talking to us today about LinkedIn is now everything, and your personal reputation is the platform of future sales. So it's no longer about your company and what you sell and who you are; it's about your personal reputation. And Scotty's going to take us through this, and I'm sure it's going to be a great session with lots of power-packed information and energy, as always, with Scotty. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And Scotty, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ivan and Jasper. I love you guys at the Chamber. You guys have done amazing work, and watching you guys thrive, growing from a small community chamber to an international network. It's just beautiful to watch. Just to correct you, you both said I'm going to be speaking today. I'm not going to be speaking. I'm going to be ranting. Those who know me know I like to rant. I'll try not to make it too out there and try to make it as specific as possible. But I think there's a few things that have got to be said, because I've been in digital marketing for over 20 years. Don't be fooled by my youthful good looks. I've been in this game for a very long time. And the first thing I want to mention, guys, is that we have to just accept the fact that business is not going to fall into our laps. It might have fallen into our laps in the past, but now that COVID has hit, things have changed so rapidly. If you've been watching the news recently, you will have noticed, and this topic is actually follows on from another topic that I've been talking about, which is this notion that Facebook is dying. Like, it's not going to die. It's not going to disappear. It's not going to vanish. Of course, it's too big. But from a small business perspective, guys, Facebook is under massive amounts of pressure. I mean, to the point where you're getting crazy news headlines like Forbes magazine with headlines like this. Telegram gains on WhatsApp blunder, discussed with legacy social media. This kind of just vehement attacks that are happening right now against social media and their censorship are being like, it's really starting to ramp up. And I don't know if a lot of people know this news story that broke, but do you know that 500 million Facebook users are on sales through Telegram?
Scotty,
and that's you, me, everybody else.
Scotty, sorry to interrupt you. We're not
sure.
On screen.
Can you guys not see my screen?
Yeah, what you wanted to show us a picture or something, it just came up blank.
I'm sharing my screen. Can you not see?
Are you sharing the right screen?
Should be. There we go. How's that?
Yes, that we can see. Thank you.
So much so that if you have a look at the actual news media recently, you can see the Telegram gains on WhatsApp. This is from Forbes magazine. Blunder discussed with legacy social media. I mean, we're talking about some quite hectic attacks against social media, and I'm not here to judge. So some of you might believe in the censorship thing, and that's great. Some of you might be anti the censorship thing and what's going on. It doesn't matter. What I'm here to talk about today is the fact that what is happening from a business perspective is we need to get clients in business. So what platforms do we use? Because as we see what's going on in the world, and I don't know if you guys saw this as well, it's literally just broken in fairly recently. 500 million Facebook users on Facebook are on sale. In other words, if you've been on WhatsApp or Facebook for more than a year, it's almost certain that your data has been hacked and is now available for sale on Telegram. That's what's going on. So you're getting this incredible outrage that's starting to hit. And like I said before, I'm not here to judge your opinion on whether you agree or not with the censorship and what's actually going on. But the fact is that people are moving away from these big platforms. People are taking their accounts more seriously. And this is key, because what I'm here to talk about today, guys, is this notion of personal credibility. And I know you guys are like, oh, but I love my Facebook. No one will ever let my Facebook go. It's too precious. And I get that. And what I think we're going to start seeing now is we're going to see social media consolidate. And it comes together with a statement that LinkedIn has recently made that some of you guys might have received the email from them. And I'm going to show you that statement in a second. But what's happening is, for me, extremely exciting, because what's starting to happen is people are starting to realize that their social media and LinkedIn profiles need to be taken very, very seriously. You can't just click accept, accept, accept anymore. And these places where small businesses like us used to go to find new business is starting to shift and erode before our eyes. Now, I was vehemently outspoken with regards to social media and the internet 2 or 3 years ago. I did presentations in London, And basically what I was talking about was the fact that a third of all internet traffic is fake. It's not real, guys. We run one of the largest Facebook groups in Bali, and the number of fake accounts is extraordinary. They don't even hide it. No photograph, just some stupid cartoon idiot on their phone. Their name is ridiculous, some cartoon character. It's crazy, like what's going on. It's become this kind of automated fake stuff that's going on. And we need as small businesses to really start talking about this in the open, because where are we going to get our business from? And what we're starting to see is the emergence, the resurgence, the old-fashioned understanding that said our personal credibility and reputation is key to everything. So how do you bring these two platforms together? How do you bring LinkedIn, which has been very clever and actually stayed out of the limelight quite a bit and has actually been grown as a platform quite significantly? How do you blend that with this concept of not spam, not hard selling, building your personal reputation? And this is what I want to start to go into a little bit more detail with. So let me quickly just show you what they actually sent out as part of the LinkedIn initiative. Some of you guys might have seen this. It's definitely gone out in the UK and Europe. It's definitely gone out in Australia. Hasn't hit other parts of the world. I'm sure it will relatively soon. So LinkedIn sent this message out. And to summarize, as a reminder, what LinkedIn are saying is it's best to only connect with people you know. Keeping your connections list relevant and personal ensures you have the best LinkedIn experience. Now, for LinkedIn to go out and say, please don't accept, be more careful, etc., is quite a big thing, because they make their money from traction. They make their money from volume. But even they are now acknowledging and saying, guys, take your profile more seriously. Start to become a lot more serious about the way in which you portray yourself. And it's really, really, really exciting, guys. Now, what do we do? How do we actually take this to the new level? How do we get onto our profiles and go, what do we do in order to take our personal credibility and build it on LinkedIn? Now, the first thing I want to mention to you guys with regards to this is that so many small business owners try to do the impossible. They do this thing called the brand. They create this brand, this company, and they get logos and business cards and all these fancy things. And they're like, oh, I'm just so proud because the curve of the L represents the feminine and the rest is table mountain and all this crap. It's really nice and pretty, guys. But what you try to do is you take this brand and your personality hides under the brand. And then you try to go against gravity to get your brand into this great cloud that is the internet and all these millions and millions of people out there. But you're pushing it up and you're bashing it up into the world, and it just comes back down every time. And it doesn't work. It didn't really work before COVID, and it sure as hell isn't working now. If you've got big money, by all means, go crazy. If you've got the money, get into SEO. SEO is amazing if you get it right. We're not saying don't use these platforms. I'm not saying don't be clever in your marketing. But what I'm really trying to get you guys to try and understand, and been doing this for so long and just really loving the way some people embraced it, is if you get your personal credibility right, things start to really happen for you. And your best friend is going to be your LinkedIn direct messenger. Okay, so let's talk about LinkedIn now generally. LinkedIn is amazing because you have this incredible thing called an invite. And you have an incredible thing called accepting that invite. And once you get that acceptance, data becomes available of the other person. But as LinkedIn has just said, please don't just accept. Because what so many businesses were doing before is they were going connect. And some of the more studious were writing nice little messages, but it was cut and paste. Hi, I saw your name popped up in my LinkedIn contacts and I thought that I would connect with you. Guys, that stuff's not going to work anymore. If you want to be seen as credible, stop bashing your brand like this and instead think of it as a horizontal plane. Stand personally, your personality. Take your personal brand and make that the spearhead of your organization. Okay, take that and start connecting with a group of people around you and focus on trust. I've been to so many networking events and they all say, no, like, trust, no, like, trust. First of all, people get to know you, then they get to like you, then they get to trust you. On LinkedIn, I'm sorry, I have to vehemently disagree with that statement. You've got 12 to 15 seconds to get somebody to act. That's all, because that's how many characters you've got, and to convince them to actually act. you have to start with trust. You've got to start with your personal credibility. So how do you do that in 12 to 15 seconds? How is that even possible? And this is where it comes down to the captivating one-liner. You don't have to go and post every day on LinkedIn 2 or 3 times in weeks to build your personal reputation. You need to do one thing and do it really, really well. Direct messenger is your greatest friend. So let's take a couple of examples now and let's start showing you. So this is a LinkedIn message that went out. This is the type of thing that you want people to get to. So get people off LinkedIn as quickly as possible. Use your invitation and acceptance message to get them off of LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is so restricted. It's beautiful for getting those connections. It's beautiful for making that initial impression, for building a strong first impression, but it absolutely sucks for long-term relationship building outside of direct messenger. So what you want to do is you want to create something, okay, that looks really good, that you click, that get them to click, okay, get them to click and get them to view. And here's a couple of examples. And the captivating one-liner is that one line that reaches out on LinkedIn and says, I'm not here to spam you. I'm not selling my product or service, but I understand your pain. It's all about your pain. This guy, this client, and as you can see, it's all about the individual. It's all about you. This guy is selling rugs, but he's not talking about rugs. He's talking to interior designers, and he's saying that your industry is under attack from deceiving discount bandits and you're losing your commission. He's making these really bold, powerful statements. And amazing lady who's on this group right now, Lee, said something so awesome. And if Lee, if you could maybe post that into the chat, you can bring it up later. She said that what the world needs right now is people to make bold statements and bold opinions. We're tired of the fluff. We want to hear people who know stuff and are experienced say powerful statements. And I love that, because that's exactly what this is about. So he's selling rugs, but he's not talking about rugs. He's talking to the pain of the industry that he's reaching out to. This is how you start to build your credibility. You start to create pieces of content that do not talk about your product or service, but gently and softly nurtures them in a way that helps them understand, I get you. You get me, you understand me. Do you see the difference, guys? Do you see what we're trying to do? Financial services CIOs, be honest. Your project managers don't know what they are doing, do they? This is not your normal Google search content, guys. This is bold, opinionated stuff. And what ends up happening, right, is when you connect to somebody on LinkedIn, and they go, 12 to 15 seconds, you've convinced me. This captivating one-liner, you've talked about my industry. It's relevant to me. You know what? I think I'm going to give you the time of day. You look like a credible person. You've got a good photograph. You've got a nice LinkedIn background. I've checked you out. You know what? I think I will accept your LinkedIn connection. Or at the very least, I will ask for the article that you're promising me. So you then send them this. And the first thing they see when they click away from LinkedIn is they see your photograph. And they see that the individuals you've connected on LinkedIn is actually responsible for a beautiful piece of work that is well thought out, is not clickbait, and says something really interesting. This is how you build it. And I know what you guys are asking for, and I'll get to it in a second. Don't worry. You'll get to how you do your LinkedIn connections and your invitation messages. I'll get that to a second. But before you understand what your strategy is and what target audience you're trying to reach, and specifically what the pain of that audience is. And as soon as you stop spamming people and stop hard selling, and you actually start to talk about their pain, the world changes for you hugely. Now, another example of content is a video. So I do videos with my clients. You can do a video on your own. You get onto Zoom and you record yourself saying something cool for 10, 15 minutes. Don't make it boring. Maybe make it 2 minutes if you feel you're waffling. And I'm going to stop my video here for a sec because I want to make a really important point. If you're an introvert and you don't like doing videos and stuff like that, it's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with you preparing, rehearsing, practicing. Get in front of Zoom like this on your own with no one else around. Pretend you're talking to an audience and rehearse a really nice 2 to 3 minute soliloquy. Maybe share your screen and make a little video. Show your audience that you understand your pain. Do not talk about your product or service. Talk about their pain. Say to the audience, I get what you're going through, guys. I understand it. And they see you talking with credibility and respect. They see you talking with confidence. That little video is such a powerful way to build your personality and your character and to help people trust you and build your credibility. I hope this is starting to make a little bit of sense, guys, and I hope this is starting to work. And I get that I'm ranting, but I see this happen all the time. And I'm so tired of people, really, really smart, super bright, mega intelligent people coming to me and say, I've just put so much money into Facebook and it hasn't worked for me. And I've spent all this money, it's not working. And it comes down to the reason, that old-fashioned reason that says when you connect with somebody, be genuine and show them that you understand their pain. And above all, and I'm going to go through this in detail now, build a sales pipeline. Okay, so what are you guys asking? How do you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn? What is your invitation and acceptance message? You've got 12 to 15 seconds. All you do is you say, hi, John, quote your article. We call it a listicle now. Quote your article. I've just written this article. It's an eye-opening article, or it's a controversial article for your industry specifically. I'd love to connect and share it with you via LinkedIn and email. If you overnight change your invitation messages to something along the lines of this, you can reword it yourself. What you are saying to that person is, I'm not here to spam you. I've put a lot of time and effort into something specifically for your industry. I get your industry, or I get your job title. But I understand what you're going through and I've just written about it. I'm speaking about it. I have the authority to speak on this subject. This starts to change the game because you're showing them that you are you are an expert who understands their pain. Okay. Once they accept your LinkedIn connection, all you do is you send them a link to that article. It's so simple from a messaging perspective, but it's not that simple from a content perspective, because you've got to put good content together, whether it's a video like this or whether it's a beautifully designed article, whatever it happens to be. It's you speaking about their pain. And this is the secret, guys. Target a specific job title or target a specific industry. That is what will get your clicks. If you want to build your character, your personality, your trust, reputation, nothing says it better than I understand your industry. I had an amazing chat with somebody it's actually a new client now, and he's trained almost 20,000 health and fitness salespeople around the world. And he says, you know who the best salespeople were? Accountants, teachers, and librarians. And I'm like, what? The introverted type people? Yes. Why? And he says, well, because if you tell an accountant to do 20 invitations a day, he or she will do 20 invitations a day. Won't do 19, won't do 21. Other guys will do like 10, so maybe do 15 a day, all over. They follow the diligent process. And this is the secret to the whole sales process, guys. It's following that diligent process. So what is that diligent process? How do you follow it? Well, once you've built your content and you've built your machine and you've made yourself look really good and really credible, then you can start reaching out with the methodology I've just shown you now. I've got lots of videos and things that explain this on the website. Now you can just start messaging them. Here's your problem. And I'm going to finish off the last 10-minute rant with your problem and your opportunity. This diagram over here is the secret. It's called the sales conversion gap. Okay, guys. So here's what happens. You are sitting on a gold mine right now. And I know a lot of you guys listening to this are already fairly active on LinkedIn. If you're not, it doesn't matter. You'll hopefully get active after you watch this. You've got lots and lots of these LinkedIn invitations, right? You've got lots of connections. You've made them. But how do you convert those into customers? Today, I gave you a couple of tricks about your captivating one-liner, the content showing your pain, et cetera, and we can expand that, and I do so on other videos. But what ends up happening is you get these people that are clicking and they're opening and they're responding sort of, and they're saying thanks and they're saying thumbs up and they're kind of there and they're engaging your content, but they are not going to pick up the phone and phone you. Make no mistake, they are not going to pick up the phone and phone you. They're going to sit in what's called a sales conversion gap. If you get this, your life will change. Now, I've worked with enough sales trainers and some of the great ones are on this call already. And what they will tell you is that what they will say is they've worked with clients who for 2, 3, 4, 5 months don't get much traction. And they'll sit with that client and go, let's look at your sales conversion gap and book off half a day and get on the phone to those people who have followed you and clicked and are engaging with you, but who haven't phoned you yet. And suddenly, bang, they start getting sales appointments because they were proactive. Sometimes it's reach out with a LinkedIn voice message or a LinkedIn message. But that sales conversion gap is where everything lies. This is where the gold is. You have more people sitting in your gap, in your sales conversion gap than you think. But how do you know that? And I'm going to show you in a second how to measure it. But if you go onto our madge3.com LinkedIn profile, you'll see this diagram and you'll see the article about how to convert LinkedIn connections into calls and meetings. And I use what's called a 4-step process. I've got a little video on it. And there's 4 steps. Now you need to take this process and tweak it for your own business. You start by sending a LinkedIn direct message, which I've shown you. You then wait a few days. And if they don't respond, you follow up with email. Email is critical. Now remember, you're only reaching out to people now who you know have engaged with your content. How do you know that? Because hopefully you're using our app or using our technology or using the madge3.com system to help you guys track that. Even if you just use the free version, just please track what it is that you're doing. Because if you do not have a measurable sales pipeline, this is going to fail. And if you don't act like a librarian and follow the diligence, you're also going to find that these people, this gold that is sitting in your sales conversion gap is not going to be converted. But if you follow a 4-step process or tweak it for yourself and you send that direct message on LinkedIn and you use email, and how to send that email and how to word it is also in here, then sending an email. And if they don't respond, look at potentially a LinkedIn voice message. Some people don't like LinkedIn voice messages. It depends on your market, but depending on how you want to do it, you can start to do your follow-ups and eventually start phoning them. If you follow these 4-step process, you've already built your personal credibility to such an extent. And because you're so soft and so gentle and talking about their pain, when you speak to them on the phone or when you leave that LinkedIn voice message or when you write that personal message to them, you're asking them about their pain. You're referring back to the article that you've written. You're referring back to the content and you say to them, in my article or in my video, I talked about this. Is this something you're experiencing? Can we have a conversation about it? So what you're doing, guys, to summarize, is you're creating connections. Then you are creating conversations, and then you go into the close. If you master the art of the conversation, holy flip, things start to just open up for you. It starts to change the whole ball game because you're just being soft, you're just being gentle, and you're just taking people on a soft journey of really good quality content. And the responses are so different, guys. The responses that you get are always just like, thank you, interesting article, great to chat. I appreciate you taking that time. Conversation starters. People will reply to you on LinkedIn, not saying I want your product, but yes, send me your article. I'm looking forward to it. Or the conversations begin. And that's really what you're looking for. You're looking to create those conversations. And you can create that sales pipeline very, very simply. But you've got to do it. You've got to track your clicks. This linkedinarticles.com is actually a little tracking link that will actually track to see who clicked on it. So if you're sending out 20 LinkedIn invitations a day and 8 of those actually accept, so you send your article or your video to 8 people, you can tell which of those clicked. You can see who clicked. They become your priorities, and you can create a little high quality contact database. You can create a great conversations database, and you can move them into your deals in progress. And you can work your pipeline right on top of LinkedIn specifically. And this is what I want to finish off with before I go into Q&A. What happens, right, is you sit with LinkedIn, but it's not directly connected to your sales pipeline. So you have this gap, the sales conversion gap. It's really important that your sales pipeline and your LinkedIn are working together. But your sales pipeline is about how you close deals, but your LinkedIn is always soft and gentle. So you're slowly working the way through a conversation, through a natural process, but you're measuring it every single step of the way, but you're working with LinkedIn to do that. And the secret is you need to know who clicked, who opened, who actually created that engagement with you, because they're not all going to respond. They're not all going to jump down your lap and go, yes, I want to speak to you now. That business is not going to fall into your lap, guys. You've got to be proactive and focus on that sales conversion gap. And I know this has been a bit of a rant, guys, because I'm so passionate about this right now, because I'm so sick and tired of watching such terrible mistakes being made, with so much money being wasted, especially during this time. But more importantly, I'm so saddened when I see people with these great LinkedIn profiles and so much sitting in their sales conversion gap, but they don't know how to pull it out of their gap. They don't know how to follow that diligent process, and they don't do that work. And finally, the purpose of this whole topic is about your personal credibility and reputation. You build your personal credibility and reputation simply by not ruining it up front. Your LinkedIn message, your first LinkedIn message is a good first impression. Your second LinkedIn acceptance message is a great first impression or second impression. You're constantly staying at the top of your game. You're making bold statements. You're never going into this kind of scared mode, where you're going out there and you're kind of saying, oh, I'm too scared. You know, I'm like, I want to just offer you my product, and if you don't respond, I'm sorry. It's not like that. You have to stand out and boldly put your personality in front of your brand. Your brand will come along with you. Don't beat your brand up like this. Stand proudly in front, get a good LinkedIn profile, message people, show them that you understand their pain and their industry's pain. Be an industry specialist. It works so well, guys. We get on average 12 to 15% click-through rates on the captivating one-liners. Those messages I just showed you earlier, 12 to 15%. They end up becoming 20 to 25% after a couple of months. That's your click-through rate. Your industry average is normally 0.5 to 1%. People don't believe us, and it's just a simple approach. So guys, I'm going to go into Q&A now. I really hope this is just kind of bamboozled you a little bit, which I totally understand, but I hope it's given you guys some food for thought. And I'm going to hand over to Q&A and just see if any of you guys have got some questions or any comments about the last half an hour of